there, it's Karen here. Welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to do something a bit different. I've decided after several years of doing Roxy's Weekly Challenge that I thought I'd do a different challenge this year, a different weekly challenge. And I've recently been watching a YouTube channel called Nonstop Papercrafts, and it's the lady is Suzanne, who that's her channel, and she's hosting a channel challenge, I suppose you'd call it, called Altered Index 2025. She did one last year for 2024, which I didn't see any of because I only recently discovered her channel. And when she did her first video for this 2025 challenge, I thought, oh, I think I'd like to have a go at that. It's going to challenge me in more ways than one, because she's concentrating on doing mixed media on these altered index cards, which is something I want to do more of, but I don't do very much. So that's really going to be a bit of a challenge for me. But also, I've never ever worked with prompts before. I've often looked at other people working with prompts and thinking, oh, I would never know what to do, and I've never done it. So that, I think even that is going to be the biggest challenge for me, is following prompts. So I'm going to give it a go. I don't know how I'll get on. So I've got the list of prompts here. I will link her channel below, and from there you can be directed to the list of prompts if you wanted to have a go yourself. I really have no idea how this is going to go, and I'm a bit nervous because this is so new to me to do something like this. So the first prompt is alphabet or dictionary. So I have watched her first video, so I think to some extent that my first one will be following her a bit, her lead in how she approached it, just because it's something new and I'm just trying to feel my way in. But I'm hoping that from now on, after this one, I will actually make my video before I watch her video. Her videos are going to go up every Wednesday. I think I'm going to try and do mine the following Monday. So it will go up after her prompt, after her video, but I won't have watched her video when I make mine, if you see what I mean, so that I'm not influenced by what she does, because I think I feel like it's going to be more creatively authentic if I just do it from the prompt and not take my idea from what she does or anybody else who's doing it. I'm sure lots of people are going to be doing it. So we'll see how it goes. If it's a complete disaster, I either won't upload the video or I'll upload it but won't do any more. I don't know. So I'll just show you what I'm going to use for this first one. And what I've found, because although it's an altered index challenge, and the index cards that she's using, she's got a variety of sizes. I have just got this one pack I've had for absolutely ages, never know what to do with them, because the cards themselves are really quite thin. So for doing mixed media, I think that's even two there. Doing mixed media is not ideal. But what Suzanne was going to do, and I think she did last year as well, she actually works on another piece of card, something more substantial. I think she's using watercolour card, and then sticking it onto her index cards. So she's doing them in the same size, but not actually on the index cards themselves. So I'm going to do the same thing. And I found I had this pack, which is actually mixed media paper, which is very similar to watercolour paper. I think it's very thick. It's 250 GSM, which is the same as £169, if that means anything to you. But 250 is pretty thick. So what I've done, I haven't done many, but I thought I'd just cut myself a few to size to get me started. These are 4x6. My index cards are 4x6, so that's what size I'm using for my cards, and I'm going to do them the same way as Suzanne did. That's in portrait. But I was thinking, well, you could almost use them afterwards as journal cards if you wanted to. Whether I would or not, I don't know. So that's that's my base, and then I have got, as I said, the prompt is alphabet or dictionary. So I thought I'd do a bit of both. So I've got a German dictionary page here. It's my old German dictionary from when I was at university. So it's vintage because it was from the 70s. So that's vintage as far as I'm concerned. And I've actually picked out the page that's got alphabet written on it, you know, just because. So I'm going to use a bit of that. I've also got the Tim Holtz Typo stencil, which has got the alphabet on it. So I use some of that. Another Tim Holtz, but this time a stamp. So this is the, what's it called? Faded type. So that's perfect. So I'm going to use maybe a couple of those. And I'm going to use, they're very similar colours to the ones Suzanne used, and that's mainly because these are my go-to colours. For a start up, you know, blues and greens, turquoise, those kind of colours, they're my go-tos. And as this is so new, I felt like I want to do something that I'm, you know, colours that I'm comfortable with and that I love. So they're not the same as Suzanne's colours that she chose, but they're in a similar vein. So I'm going to do the same technique, and I've got broken china, distress oxide, speckled egg, and peeled paint. So, and I've got a couple of sprays as well. So I'll try those. I may do those as well. So we'll see how it goes. It's all very new to me. And this technique of smooshing it on a stamp block, I don't think it's something I've ever done before. I may have done it once, but I've not really done that technique before, so I thought I'd give that a try. This is all very, very new, a bit scary, but I think it's the sort of thing that once you get going, it's going to be lots of fun to do. And I am kind of looking forward to it. I really want to have a go. It's just always the first time. It's always a bit nerve-wracking. So I think the only thing to do is to make a start. And I think I'll start with the speckled egg. And she's also mentioned some steps that from a lady called Lou Collins, the steps to starting off in mixed media. So I've just got this propped in front of me. Starting off with mixed media, there's 5 steps to follow, so I'm going to try and do something like that. Establish where you're going to put your focal point. My focal points tend to be on the left for some reason, so that's probably where it'll be. And then you start with adding colour. So I'm going to add colour. Colour, then texture, and then your focal point, and then you do some splatters, which I haven't got anything out for at the moment, so we'll see how that goes. Right, so I'm going to put a bit of the speckled egg on first. There's my kind of base colour. This is the lightest colour. So giving a good smoosh of that. And I meant to do this video yesterday, but it took me so long to go through all my old mixed media stuff. I have so much that I've had for years. And some of it was just so old, it had gone hard, and I had to throw pots and pots of modelling paste and matte gel medium and all sorts of stuff that I'd had for a long time, and I had to throw it away because it was all hard and was no good to me. So I've just started off with a bit of light background colour. I have no idea what I'm doing, so we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I think I'm going to have to dry each layer so they don't just merge into each other. So I'm just going to quickly dry this one off with my heat tool. Oops. Now I want to apply a bit of the broken china, which is quite a bright colour, so I'm just going to be a bit sparing with this one, otherwise it can just completely dominate the whole page. Okay, let's try a bit of that. I was having a play yesterday and I overdid the broken china and it just completely covered everything else up, so it was worth doing because it's kind of taught me to rein it in a little bit with that colour. So let's go a few drips. Okay, I think that will, yeah, like that. Okay, I'm going to get into such a mess. That's why I've covered my table with some what they call it, craft mats, and this is a kind of, I suppose you'd call it a messy mat. I've had it for a long time and I always forget I've got it. So one of the nice things about this challenge is I'm going to be pulling out things that I've had a long time, and if they're not already gone hard or gone dry like a lot of things had, I can use some things that I haven't used for a long time. And what am I doing? I don't want more water. I want to dry it. Actually, I've decided I want it to just run a little bit. I'm going to give it a little squirt and just let it run down a bit, just to make it a bit more of an, otherwise it just looks kind of patchy, doesn't it? I want it to kind of run and merge a little bit. Come on. That's it. Okay, we'll go with that. Now we'll dry it. Okay, it's not completely dry, but it's dry enough, I think. Now I'm going to put a bit of the peeled paint, because I quite like this pop of sort of like a limey green with these colours. I think that'd be quite nice. This is looking a bit messy, a bit like a hot mess at the moment, but that's kind of what to expect, I suppose. Not too much. It's quite a bright colour. I think it will just give it a pop. At least that's what I hope. And, ooh, what's that? Right. Make it quite wet. Actually, I might just do the big drips. And a bit more of a smoosh up here. Whoops. Okay. Maybe I'll use the kitchen towel rather than the hot tool, what am I calling it? Yeah, the drying tool. Maybe we'll just soften that a bit. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I think that's possibly enough for now. Don't want a little bit more colour down here. Okay. All right, let's see how this goes now. All I seem to be doing is wiping. Okay, now, so we've got a kind of coloured background. Now we need to build up our layers a little bit. So what I want to do next is a bit of this dictionary page. So try tearing it. Don't want a huge amount of it, but it will add some interest, I think. Don't need all that, I'm just giving myself a bit to sort of work out what I want and where I want it. I might just have that going on there. So we've got alphabet here, it doesn't really show that much. I think I need to get my ruler. Right, so I think I might just put that there, something like that. Yeah, okay. I think that's what I want. What do I want? Or does it look better if it's this side? Because I want my, maybe I'll have my focal point over here. Who knows? I wanted it on this side really, but now I think but I haven't quite finally decided on my focal point. I know I want some sort of word. Suzanne did a word, and I want to do something similar, but not the same word, of course, and I don't even know if this will fit. The word that really jumped out at me, I've got a few that I can die cut. I've die cut a few words. I've got, I was thinking of live life, but the word I really wanted to use was inspire, just because I have been very inspired recently by some of the new videos I've been watching, some new YouTube channels that I've discovered over the last few weeks, and it's inspired me, which is why I'm doing this. So as I'm feeling inspired, I thought I'd like to use the word inspire, and that does fit, but I'm not sure about all this curly-whirly stuff. I think it's a bit too much, but I'm worried if I cut it, it'll look odd. But that would look okay there, I think, with this on here. And actually, the alphabet bit would then show, wouldn't it? Okay, I might just do that. I might just soften this edge a little bit. Maybe do it like that, rather than having it quite so straight. Okay, have that there. Yeah, okay, I'll do that. Kind of have to go with the flow a little bit with these things, don't you? So I'm going to actually, I'm wondering if I should have put on my bit of stamping first. Oh well. I'll put a bit of stamping on next. So I'm just going to pop that. Is that the right way? Yeah. Right, that's going on there. Then I'll do a little bit of stamping of the alphabet from my Tim Holtz. Now, I've got this one. I quite like that, and I've also got this one. They're the two I'm most drawn to for this challenge. Let's try this one, I think. There, maybe I'll do a bit up here. I suppose I could use the same block, couldn't I, that I've been using. If I can get it on there, if it's the right size, yes. So, now which colour do I want to use that will show up? Do I want to use black? I want it to be quite so. I will use black because I'm going to do some more, hopefully a bit more colour afterwards. So we'll kind of knock it back a little bit. At least that's the hope. Okay. Not going to kind of want it to be a bit kind of. I don't want it to be solid. Doesn't look very. Can't really see the alphabet on there, can you? Okay, perhaps I'll be a bit more careful with my stamping with the next one. See if we can see the print a bit better. So I do want it to look like it's printed, like alphabet, and then I'll do another print there. Okay, not sure, but well, some of it will be covered up anyway. So we'll just keep trying. That's probably enough stamping. Okay, let's put that back. Maybe the other one would have been better. I don't know. Okay, looking a bit messy, so let's try and add some more colour. That was came out a bit darker than I planned, but I really wanted it to look like alphabet. That is the prompt. So let's go with some of this, what's it called? brain's gone. Stencil, that's the word, stencil. Isn't it funny how your words just disappear when you're trying to film? So I'm going to have to think carefully about where I do this. Now, the only bit of modelling paste that hadn't all gone hard was this tube here. I found the tubes of modelling paste seem to keep better than the pots, because I've also had a tube of gold and silver modelling paste by Heidi Swap, I think. I don't want those today, but they might come in for another time. And I'm determined, well, I'm pretty determined that I'm going to try really hard not to buy new stuff just for this challenge. I want to try and use what I've got. Only when I'm completely run out of things am I going to replace them. Otherwise you end up with more stuff that's going to go dry if you don't keep using them. So I'm going to try to use this. So I have tried it out. It does work. Now, let's just make sure I'm cleared up a little bit as I go. Right, that's all wet and nasty. I'm trying to think where's a good place to do it. I might just try and go down here a bit. Knock this bit back a bit. Right, I have my, whatever these are called. I'm going to put a little dollop of this on my mat, I think. Might be the easiest thing to do. And I can pick it up a bit at a time. Get that wipe. See, I did do some art journaling quite a few years ago. Before I even started junk journaling, I think. And some of this stuff dates back from that time. Okay. I'm going to do it kind of across this corner. I should have put it on the other. I don't know why I didn't put it on this side. Just made life difficult for myself, and it means you just keep seeing my arm reaching over. I'm sorry about that. Okay. Let's try and take this off carefully and see how that looks. Well, yeah. I need to do a bit more, I think. Right. Wipe this this one, this little bit up. Let's put some modelling paste on the side that I actually need it to be. And I want to put a bit more up the top, I think. Oh, I should have done that the other way around, shouldn't I? Should have done the top first. Now I'm in danger of... Well, I'll just do it lightly on that side. So I don't want the numbers, I just want the letters, and the numbers are going to impact. I think and also what I've often noticed before with modelling paste, it's soaking up the colour from what was behind it, which is quite an interesting effect. Okay, I'm going to hold this up a bit and just do this along here. I suppose I could have turned it upside down and done it that way. I don't really want upside down letters, do I? Peel that up. Okay, so we have some texture up here. Right, so I've dried it a bit. The modelling paste doesn't really pop, so I'm just wondering what's the best way to... I often find this with modelling paste, it starts to soak up the colour from behind and then it kind of disappears almost. I mean, the texture's there, but it's not particularly evident. This is something I may need to learn as I go along, is how best to get texture to really show. But that's not going to be for this video. I'm just going to go with what I've brought along. So I have got a whole bunch of sprays of different sorts. Ink sprays, paint sprays, I'm not quite sure what they are. This is a Lindy's Stamp Gang Starburst spray. So it should be a little bit of shine in it. I've had this one quite a long time. I don't know how well it'll work, but I thought I'd just do a little bit of spraying on top, just because I wanted to try it, see what the effect will be like. And I want to kind of put a bit of colour over here, I think. So, here goes nothing, she says. And it's not wanting to spray. I have tried it out, so it should work. There we go. More of a mist, really. There we go. I think that'll do. And I might just try and dab off the bits on the, I don't know if I can, where the texture paste is. Okay. So we have a little misting of the, what colour is this called? Oh, I did Starburst spray. That's not the colour though, I don't think. Oh, here we go. Tiffany Lou Blue is what it's called. Oh, I remember they used to have some really interesting names for their paints. Then I've got this one as well. I used to get a lot of... I used to belong to a club called the Hip Kit Club, which was a scrapbooking club, but they used to do mixed media kits as well. And I used to buy them sometimes, so I used to get all these weird and wonderful things. And this is by a company called Shimmers, and this is one of their sprays, and the colour is Hermit the Frog. I don't know where they get them all from, but I have discovered that this nozzle is a bit blocked. So I might do some splatters with this one. I don't know whether these splatters will show up enough to be considered final splatters, but I'm going to try and do some splatters with this. Or some drips anyway. Getting a nice lot over here. Let's try and get some over here. Anything happening? Not obviously. I quite like this happening over here. Okay, I think this might be it for the splatters. I may have to do some more contrasting splatters, possibly in black at the end. I'll see how it looks. I don't know. I may not want too much black on here, or even white. I suppose I could add white. Okay. All right. You could get carried away with your splattering, can't you? Mind you, most of it I think's gone on my mat rather than on the card. So let's just quickly wipe those off. Okay, well, it's interesting. I want to say I'm thrilled with it right now, but I've gone with the prompt. So pretty is not part of the deal. I think I need to dry my splatters before I add my focal point. So I think I might see how they dry with the heat tool. Right, so now this is dry. I think I need to add my focal point, and I want to use this word inspire, as I said, but I have to be careful. I'm beginning to get splatters on it, so I'm going to try cutting off the top swirl, just because I think it's a bit too much. I may do the bottom one as well, but I want to see how it turns out. If it's a disaster, I'll redo it, or I have another idea what I might do. I don't know how it'll work. So let's just try, see how this goes, cutting off this. It's a bit nerve-wracking. Actually, I'm wondering whether I should do it with my scissors, actually, because I don't want to cut the top of this eye, and I will catch that if I... Maybe I'll just try doing it with my scissors very carefully. Let's see how it looks. So I want to take just these little bits off. Okay, I think that's okay. I could possibly leave the one at the bottom. It's not quite as... Yeah, maybe I'll leave that bottom bit. It's quite a big word, but I think for the beginning of this challenge, it's not a bad idea to start with a big idea. Let's be inspired by each other and by everybody else around us. So I think I'm going to put that on there, and then I'm going to do 2025 below it. I mean, it's almost too big for this, but I think I'm going to go with it. The other possibility I have, because this is obviously, if you look at this, this is the negative space, so all of these letters have also been die cut. So I could almost use those letters. I don't know, let's see if they would actually pop enough on their own. unless I did them vertically. Oh, we're trying new things now, new ideas. Would that work? I don't think it will. I don't think it'll fit. They're quite big letters, aren't they? But no, it's not going to fit vertically. Right, so I'm going to have to try and fit them on. Do them around the word alphabet. Yes, maybe do it kind of in. Have it going down a bit like that, at a bit of an angle. Spire. There we go. How about that? Maybe that would work. I might try that. I'm going to have to flatten this under my mat, I think, when it's done, because it's just curling up a bit at the sides, which makes it a little bit difficult to work on. I'm going to use just these letters rather than the other one, which was just a bit too heavy for me. Oops. These are very narrow. Yeah, I think I like that better. Feels a bit less harsh than that the other word did, the solid word. I now want to put 2025. So I've got a piece of cardstock which I thought would go quite well on here. That I'm going to stamp it onto. It's a case of where I put it. Because I had thought I'd have it underneath, but of course that doesn't quite work now. So I don't know. And I don't want it to be I'm going to just cut along here a little bit. That's going to fit now. I just like it to have a pretty edge. Right, let's try these stamps. I've got these little block stamps and they're a bit tricky to line up and to make them stamp cleanly. So we will see how it goes. Right, I'm going to have my wet wipe on standby to wipe around the edges. Got my ink here. Just check that I'm not getting it. Sometimes you end up with a little frame or a little mark at the edge. So let's just do that one. It's come out more or less cleanly. Could do with a bit more ink on it for next time. Okay, let's do the 0. Up along there. I do have trouble getting these things to line up. Where is that's one there. Because it always comes out, you need to do it higher than you think. Still dropped down a little, but not as bad as I had a little play with it, and made quite didn't do a very good job, so it was good to try. Right, let's see if we can get a bit more ink on it this time and wipe the edge. Not too bad. And the 5. Wipe off around the edge of that. I've used these in the past and embraced the idea of having it as having a little messy border, but you don't always want that. I definitely don't today. Right. Oh, I overcompensated. Oh well. That is just how these things go, and I'm not going to redo it. I'm going to embrace the slight quirkiness of my 2025. I think I'll put that down here, down there. Is it a bit too big? I'll just cut it down a bit more. What if I start cutting and then I make a mess of it? Put that down there. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think I better not trim the top, because I'm in danger of cutting off the top of my 5, as it went completely off kilter. Never mind. It's all part of the process, part of the learning process. Let's go with it. There was a time when I would have said, oh no, that's not perfect, I'm going to redo it, but with this challenge, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to try and just go with the flow and and see how it ends up. Now I feel like I was going to do some splatters, because that's on the little list of things that you should do to finish off. But I'm wondering, actually, instead of splatters, I don't know what to do instead or as well. Maybe I think I've written down splatters or border. Now what I'm thinking, maybe instead of splatters, because I don't think they'll show, and I'm not sure it's what I want. I showed you in my little Christmas haul, I've got this Nouveau Glimmer. It's a little, I think it's a paste. Yes, it's a glimmer paste, and I'm thinking, because it's the right colour and I love it and I've been dying to try it, I'm going to do a little border, just a little bit around the border to kind of frame it. It's like yes, interesting stuff. So yeah, I'm going to try doing a little bit of a border with this paste, kind of just to finish it off. It's not going to be a solid border, I'm just going to sort of tap it around. I nearly forgot to get the modelling paste off my spatula. Suddenly realised I'd cleaned the stencil, but not the spatula, and it was nearly dry. I just managed to scrape it off. That's always the danger, isn't it? You forget to clean your tools and then you ruin them. So I just about remembered. It has got, you can see it's got some gold modelling paste permanently stuck to it. I've not been very good at cleaning things sometimes. But just kind of gives it a little border finish. I think it's a nice little finishing touch. I like it. Okay, so I think that's my, oops, gotta be so careful not to touch it. So that's my altered index card, the first one of the new challenge. Definitely new for me. So yeah, I quite enjoyed myself. I'm not sure, I quite like it. I don't hate it. I feel like I'm going to learn a lot as I do this, because this is such a, in some ways, trying to do it in a little controlled way with a prompt is a good way to learn about doing mixed media, rather than trying to think, oh, I want to do more mixed media in my journals, and then being a bit scared to actually mess up your journal by doing stuff you don't really know what you're doing. This is a good way to try things out, I think. So I hope you enjoyed this. I've quite enjoyed it. It's I will link the YouTube channel. It's Nonstop Papercrafts. The lady is Suzanne. I will link her channel below. And so if you feel like having a go at this, it's the Altered Index, hashtag Altered Index 2025, which will be the title of my video. And I'm going to see how I get on with doing these challenges every week. At least having the prompts already, I can film ahead, so I will try and at least film 1 or 2 videos ahead of, so when I'm away. But there will be a gap. There'll be a gap in my videos until I can catch up again once I get back. So thanks very much for joining me today, and I'll see you again soon. Bye for now. Right, I'm just back quickly for a little postscript, because I was looking at it and I'm thinking it needs something. It needs something to just lift it, and I've decided to do some gold splatters. You can't go wrong really with gold splatters. Not something I do very often, but I've got some gold watercolour paint. I'm just going to squirt it, see how it goes. I just want to, yeah, I think that will just give it that little extra something that it needs. Oh, I think I'll probably put too much water on there now. Let's see. Just going to, yeah, it's a bit watery. So the top on this little tube of paint was absolutely welded on. My husband had to open it with some pliers. So, got to be careful how I'm going to give the lid a proper wash before I reseal it. Right, let's try and do this again. Dab it a little bit there, a little bit there, little dab, but mostly splatter. Okay, I think that will probably do. I'm not great at splattering, but I felt it needed something just to give it that little bit of pop or something, I don't know. You won't be surprised to hear I watch a lot of Barbara at 49 Dragonflies, so I guess this is the need for gold splatters may have come from her. It's all about being inspired by other people this year, I think. Or certainly at the beginning of this year. Might just dab a bit of that up. Okay, I think that's it. I'm done. So, once again, I'll see you soon. Bye!